Hey guys, Iowa Crypto Mining here. So today we're gonna do something a little bit different. I have 4 S19 J Pro 96 terahashes. So this one, these two on top, and these are mine. And what happens is I'm gonna be hosting a KS2 for somebody, and I'm gonna put it between these two. So these two are on their own 30 amp. They're pulling just above 2400 watts. Okay, so I could put these in low power mode and be fine, because I'd save 800 watts on each, give or take, and then have the KS2 going in the winter here, using like 1500 watts. So that I could make this work, but I want to try Braiins and put Braiins on both these, see what it's like. Now this one, I don't need to do anything with it. This M30S++ and this S19, they both run about 24, 25 amps. So it's tough to see, but it's back there. And so these are doing just fine. But I just want to put Braiins on there, kind of see what's going on with it, and see if I get better hash rate or not. So I'll have a spreadsheet after. I'm gonna have a couple of clips from me changing, showing you guys how to change it, which is pretty simple. And then I'll have a spreadsheet showing the differences afterwards. So come right back. I'll have these turned off and sitting on my desk, and I got the SD cards to go in it. Okay guys, here's my first one. And so I blew it off outside with my fan because it was a little dirty, nothing too crazy. And just why I have it turned off, why not blow it out? So if we're looking at the control board here, if you look at the front, this is what they call a beagle board. Okay, you see how it kind of stacks up on each other? There's like 2 layers there. That's a beagle board. So they have an SD card slot in here. So all you gotta do is take off the lid, and then you're gonna slide the SD card in. You know, pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory, not very hard. There's 2 other boards. There's the Amlogic, and this one up here. Let me see if I can show you. There's no SD plug-in on the front. There's a little USB, but there's no SD card. So those, I can't put Braiins on unless I have certain software on a computer that's logging into it. So that makes it more difficult. So I'm not switching that one. My other 2 are Beagle boards. Okay, so I can take care of those. The third one is what they call a Xilinx. And that will actually have an SD card on the front, so you don't even have to take the lid off. You just plug the SD card in the front. So I don't have one of those to show you. I lie, actually. I do have one. So this D9, that's DJ's, that's a Xilinx board. So it's got the SD card slot in the front. Okay. These 100 terahash S19s, those are Amlogic. So those are the 2 I host, and then I host the D9 for DJ. So that has an SD card slot right on the front. So that's the 3 boards that you have to worry about. There is a 4th board, but it's third party. So it's the Epic board. And so it'll just replace this. You pull everything out, put the new board in, plug everything back in, and go. And so there's a lot of benefits to that, and that's actually the way to go when it comes to the SK Pros. You get that board, and then they can actually overclock quite a bit on the SK Pros. On these J Pros, they're all about the same. I've seen numbers at Braiins, LuxOS, and the Epic. They're all pretty close to each other in performance. So it's kind of whatever one you're comfortable with. I have used Braiins in the past, so I'm comfortable with it. I know how it works. And then I'm gonna put it into my Foreman program so I can run all my ASICs on the computer. So that's Foreman. I can plug Braiins in there. You actually plug the other ones in there too, but I'm just gonna do it because I've seen that before, and it's easy. Just put on an SD card. So these micro SD cards, I already put Braiins on there. I use Belina Etcher to put it on. There's little instructions online. It's not too hard. If anyone's done HiveOS or anything, it's the same thing. Download the image, Belina Etcher to the SD card, and then we're just gonna stick it in there, turn it back on, and go from there. Alright guys, so I got this up and going. I am having a little bit of a pain in the butt with this number 4. So I got to figure that out. It was giving me a pool error. I just got to figure it out. 2 and 3 are running great. They're actually in the tuner process. But I wanted to talk about Foreman because I haven't changed anything, and it automatically looked at it and saw that it was Braiins. So now I got new actions here, new options. If it wants to load for once. There we go. If I scroll down here, you can see all these. There we go. So I got more options here. I got overclocking, auto tune, and then the power limit. So I think I can change power limit on the fly and not be sitting here at my computer. So I'm gonna play with that. I didn't change anything in Foreman. It just automatically, looked at it and figured it out. So I'm kind of happy about that. So now I'm gonna figure out what the problem with this one is. These are tuning, and for now I'm gonna leave them at the same power limit. Right now they're using actually a little bit less. So maybe I'll be able to punch it up a little bit. So let me do a little more testing here, and I'll come back with the final numbers. Thank you. All right, guys. So here's kind of the spreadsheet with some of the results. So I am still kind of messing with it. I did this to get these numbers for apples to apples for this video. I'm actually going to push it a little bit. But what we have here is my Bitmain firmware out of the box, my 3S19J Pro 96 terahashes. They're pulling 98.5. They're using more power than what was advertised. They're using actually 3035 watts. So the efficiency was actually not what was advertised. It's not 29.5. It was actually 30.81. So that was my 3. And I know when I pulled these numbers, my shed was 58 degrees in there. So it was best case scenario. It was at night when it was pulling in 35, 40 degree temperature air and then exhausting it. That's as good as it's going to get. So it wasn't quite to what was advertised. They were running fine, but not quite as good as it should have been. So I did Braiins, and I went through the tuning process. I had it set at 2950, and I was getting on average with all 3 of them 108.8 terahash. So as you can see, the efficiency is way better, and that's a big jump. And so I'm gonna kind of test it a little bit more. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna actually bump the power limit up a little bit until I get that KS2, because the shed's really cold right now. It's cold in Iowa. It's pulling in 50 degree temperature during the day. At night it's pulling in 35 degree temperature. So it's pulling in cold air. So I can push it a little bit. So the thing that makes a difference, is this something you should do? It doesn't cost anything to set up. You just buy an SD card. Okay, so you just buy a cheap little SD card and you put the Braiins software in there. So that doesn't cost anything up front. There is the dev fee. The dev fee is 2.5%. So on their website, they have the dev fee at the bottom for the S19 models is 2.5. They advertise up to 20% gain, which is pretty close to what we're getting. We're getting quite a bit more. Or we're getting quite a bit better. Not quite 20%, but we're getting 13% better, 14% better, and we're getting 10% better hash rate at the same better efficiency. So we're way ahead. And is that a 2.5% gain? Yes. Us paying the dev fee for 2.5%, we're gaining more than that. So I didn't want to do this because I didn't think the change, the bonus, the boost would be that much. It was actually better than I expected. So I should have done this a long time ago. Plain and simple. I didn't think it would be this much better, and it's a no-brainer. I do know the LuxOS is pretty much the same, numbers, up or lower depending on what power limit you set it at, but it was pretty close. The Epic boards with these J Pros was actually a step behind, but the Epic boards, like I said before, with the SK Pros that just came out, the Epics are way ahead. So I haven't seen Braiins numbers on those yet. Maybe they're just as good, maybe they're not, but I know the Epic boards are really good. So the good thing about the Epic boards, you pay that the price up front. I think they're like $150. You pay that up front, but then there's a 0 dev fee. So how long does that take the gain back? Quite a while. So you have to plan on using it for a couple years. So make sure it's on a newer unit you can have plugged in for a while. But yeah, these numbers are a no-brainer. Install Braiins on your S19J Pros all day long, and it won't matter if it's an 88 or 92 or 96 or 100. The hash rate, you'll gain enough to make it worth your while. So that's something, try it out. If you have a different Bitmain model, you can try this for a week, test it out, run these numbers like I did. If you're not better, pull it out. Then you're not behind at all. There's no negative for trying it. So yeah, I recommend it. I'll do it going forward. I'll see if I can get on my other S19J Pro, and any units going forward, I'll put it on there as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions on anything, let me know. Otherwise, have a good day.